Good morning, students. In this class we are continuing with the last chapter, that is sound. In the previous class we learned about production and propagation of sound, different terms related to sound, and also reflection of sound. Here we will study about echoes and characteristics of sound. First, moving on to the echo. So echo means it is the repetition of sound heard after reflection from a certain object, means a distant object such as a high-rise building or a hillock, after the original sound from the source dies off. So that is called as an echo. Moving on, so along with the echo we can say one more term, that is persistence of hearing or audibility. So it means that sensation of hearing of any sound persists in our ear for in our brain almost 0.1 seconds or 1/10 seconds after the sound is heard. So that is called as persistence of audibility. And when we heard an echo and when we can't hear an echo, that is according to the persistence of vision, if any reflected sound reaches the ear is less than 1/10 seconds, we cannot make out as to when the original sound died and reflected sound reaches the ear. In other words, we can say at that time no echo is heard. Or when we can hear an echo, so if the reflected sound reaches the ear after 1/10 seconds, then we can hear that echo. So this is according to the sensation of the hearing or the persistence of hearing or audibility. And in the persistence of hearing or audibility, we can say the distance. There should be a minimum distance between the source of the sound and a reflecting body, and that is 17 meter, that we find according to the equation. Minimum distance is equal to velocity into time by 2, where velocity of sound in air is 332 and here the time is 1/10 or 0.1 second, divided by 2 we will get the answer as 17 meters. So 17 meter is the minimum distance for echo should be formed. So the criteria in together we can say the echo can be heard only if there should be a high-rise building or a hillock. And the second one is there should be a minimum distance between the source of the sound and a reflecting body. It should be a 17 meter. And at last, the loudness of the sound should be sufficient enough to be heard. So these are the things. Next, and the most important thing in this chapter, that is the characteristics of a sound wave. So characteristics of a sound wave, before saying the characteristics of a sound wave, we already learned about the amplitude and frequency. So amplitude and frequency are the things which are responsible for the which makes the characteristic of the sound. So there mostly two characteristics are there. The first one is loudness and second one is pitch. So first, moving on, what is loudness? So loudness means it is how we distinguish a loud sound from a feeble sound or a soft sound. So that is called as the loudness. And loudness of the sound depends on the term amplitude. As amplitude is more, then loudness is more. If amplitude is less, then it is a soft or feeble sound. And also one more point is there, it is the loudness of sound is directly proportional to the square of the amplitude. For example, if the square of the amplitude is double, then the loudness becomes 4 times. So that is how it is related to, the amplitude is related to the loudness. And it is expressed in the decibel. The unit of loudness is decibel. Here is one waveform which shows a loud sound and a soft sound. So for a soft sound, the amplitude is, comparing these two, you can see the amplitude is less. Amplitude means it is the maximum displacement. It is less for the soft sound, and for a louder sound the amplitude is more. So this is how we distinguish a loud sound and soft sound using a waveform. So next is a column which shows the loudness of some sources and sound in its decibel. So for a normal breathing it is 10 decibel, soft whisper 30 decibel, for a normal conversation 60 decibel, beside traffic it is 70 decibel. From beside traffic onwards, the sound, decibel of the sound increases. So it is very irritable for us to hear this all sound beside traffic, 70 decibel. And then factory sound, it is 80 decibel. And for aircraft, air engines, it is up to 90 to 200 decibel. So these all are harmful. From a busy traffic to from onwards, it is the decibel of sound is more from 80 dB onwards. So this is very irritable. It is more louder the sound, so it is very irritable, and also it affects the human. So next characteristics of the sound is pitch, and the pitch of the sound is related to the frequency. The pitch is related to the term frequency. As the frequency of the sound is higher, we can say the sound is shrill, or it is high frequency sound. Or if the frequency of the sound is less, we can say it is low pitch sound. So this is how the frequency of the sound and the pitch is related, high pitch and low pitch. So frequency is high means it is a high pitch sound, frequency is low means it is a low pitch sound. So some of the comparing a boy and a girl produce a high pitch sound and a boy produce a low pitch sound. And also birds produce a high pitch sound, which is very good in hearing. So it is a high pitch sound, whereas a roaring of a lion, it is a low pitch sound. And voice of a woman, as we already say, voice of a woman is a high pitch, that of a man is a low pitch. And here this is also a graphical representation, a waveform which shows the high pitch and a low pitch sound. So for a high pitch, a low pitch, first consider the low pitch sound. Here you can see waveform, two waveform, which is at the same time. Here it is taken, the two waveform take that same time. And how many waves here you can see? Only two waves. And for a low pitch sound, the number of here the frequency is less. But consider a high pitch sound. Here we can see at the same time it takes more number of waveforms. So comparing, it's very clear that for a low pitch sound means the number of frequency will be less. For a high pitch sound, number of frequency will be, the vibrations will be more. And next and the last topic of this chapter, that is quality of the sound. So quality of the sound, the property by virtue of two sounds of the same pitch and same loudness can be distinguished by the quality of the sound. So same sound with the same loudness and same pitch, it is distinguished by the quality of sound, and quality of the sound is also called as timbre. It is a characteristic that allows us to differentiate between sound that have the same pitch and loudness. Next one is tone and note. So difference between a tone and note. Tone means a sound with a single frequency. A sound with a single frequency is called as a tone and is represented by a single wave. If you are denoting using a single wave, then only one wave form will be there for a tone. For example, we already learned about tuning fork. So it has a particular frequency. So it can only vibrate with that frequency. That is called as a tone. But for a note is a sound with multiple frequency. It can produce different frequency sound. Has many components in it. Like a musical instrument, we are taking a musical instrument like a guitar or a sitar, it can produce different note of sound. That is because of its construction is in such a way. That's why it can produce different notes of different frequencies. Multiple frequency can be produced by it. For example, include sounds of a piano or a guitar. So these are all about this chapter. So today we learn about what is echo, and echo can be heard only if three things should be satisfied, that is high-rise building, distance 17 meter and loudness of the sound. Then we learn about the characteristics of sound, that is pitch and loudness. Then we learn about what is tone and note. So these are the topics of this chapter. I hope you understood.